It's time for Twig This Week in Google, episode 32. Put on your Gregorian slankets and get ready for our Gregorian chat from Rob Houghton. We'll also talk about how little Larry and Sergey are making this year and take a look at some Google acquisitions. They've been on a shopping spree. This Week in Google, coming up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 32 for March 7th, 2010. Perky Jerky. This Week in Google is brought to you by GoToAssist Express, the easy way to provide instant tech support to your customers remotely. Support smarter with GoToAssist Express. For a free 30-day trial, go to gotoassist.com/twig. And by Carbonite, the leader in online backup. Back up your PC or Mac off-site securely and automatically. For a free trial offer plus 2 free months with purchase, go to carbonite.com. Offer code TWIG. This is Twig, This Week in Google, the show that covers everything having to do with the Googleverse and the cloud, not just Google. And joining us today, we're very happy to have, per Gina's recommendation, Kevin Purdy, who is the Purd man, we call him. He is at Lifehacker. What is your title at Lifehacker?
Senior editor.
Senior editor at Lifehacker. How long have you been there?
2 years. That makes you senior in the Gawkerverse.
Yes.
Boy, does it. You have something on Nick, don't you?
Oh, not really.
No. Jeff Jarvis is also here, author of What Would Google Do? His blog, Smart Machine. I'm sorry. I mixed Buzz Machine and Smarterware. Buzzerware from buzzmachine.com. Buzzmachine.com is the website. Also here from smarterware.org, Gina Trapani, also author of The Complete Wave Guide to Google. The Complete Google Guide to Wave. The Complete Guide to Google Wave.
There you go.
At CompleteWaveGuide.com.
Yes, that's
Yay,
it.
I got it all eventually. Hello, kids. Now, you didn't get your slanket. I'm sorry to say, Jeff.
No, I didn't. I'd be wearing it now, but my postal service is clearly behind.
Well, you actually benefit because Gina and I have had the experience of being slanketed.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
I have a black shirt on right now. I couldn't put the slanket on because it would be red.
Red fuzz.
Yeah.
So it's like a mafia napkin.
Yeah.
It's heavenly, though. The slanket is heavenly, and it will be in Austin next week.
Precise. Oh, will it? Good. I'll bring mine as well. It's a bit of a thing to pack.
It is. I was like, why did Leo ship this to me here? I got to put this in my bag.
I should have brought it to Austin. I should have shipped him to Austin, but then you'd have to bring it home.
You should have shipped those things where you can vacuum suck the air out into a plastic bag.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good call.
Excellent. Today we talk about all the Google stories, and I guess story number, well, I don't know, shopping spree, story number 1.
Well, can we talk about the Gregorian chant for a minute while we're on the slanket?
We have a Googlorian chant.
Did you see that? That was just incredible. Are we going to play that?
You want me to play it?
I think we should.
I don't even know how to find it. I guess if I search for Gregorian chant, I'll Googleorian.
There was something on the friend feed.
It's on the friend feed. Leo, your Twitter.
I tweeted it.
You tweeted it.
And I have to thank the guy who sent it to us. Let me find it and play it.
It scared me. I couldn't listen for it.
I suppose we should do that last. I suppose the chant.
All right. Yeah, that's what we'll do. It's Rob Houghton did it for us, and because we were talking last week about wearing our slankets, which look like monks' robes, and walking down the streets of Austin, humming the Gregorian chant. I'll tell you what. I'll just play a little bit of it, and then I'll play the full version for you at the end of the show. How about that? It is dramatic. It is beautiful. It is very, very Googleian.
Statement to the
You get the idea. It's very good. It goes on for a couple minutes, and it gets very jazzy. And people have been complaining, and I don't blame them, about the silly music that I started this show with. Some silly classical thing. I had this notion that there would be the three of us, and it was kind of like we were fuguing with each other, and I should do some counterpoint, and it just was a bad idea. So we'll find a better theme, and this might be ending it.
It sounds very cloudy, though, the classical theme.
That was the idea. It was Google in the cloud. That's exactly right.
Yeah, you introduced it as like not just about Google with the cloud too, and I think it works.
The problem with theme music is unless you use real music, it all sounds like bad local news themes. And now, the Action News team. Gina Trapani with sports, Jeff Jarvis with the weather, and Kevin Purdy with the news. Doesn't it?
It's feeling very Anchorman right now.
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
Yeah. Screw you, San Diego. No, I wasn't quite like that. Anyway.
Stay classy, Leo.
Stay classy.
Stay classy.
I'm going to do my best. Not that I ever have been. So, there we go. You wanted to start with the Gregorian chant, and we have.
And thanks to Rob for that. It made me laugh.
Isn't that great? It's we have a wonderful community.
And the lyrics are on the drop. I don't know if you posted them somewhere else, but the lyrics aren't easy to hear.
Yeah, it says, in the name of Larry and Sergey and Eric Schmidt, Google will do no evil and will serve the user. We will do it quickly and do it well. All love and consciousness is given to the holy algorithm. So says this Gregorian chant. That's a namaste. Yeah,
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. It's really funny. It says, then it says, can the old farts in the back row get the written lyrics? Yes, thank you. We got it as one of them. So, Piknik was one of the acquisitions. What else did Google buy? Have they been buying a lot of stuff?
DocVerse.
Yeah, those are the two big ones.
What is DocVerse?
DocVerse.
DocVerse, not Verse.
I haven't used it, but I think it's a plugin to Microsoft Office that lets you sync files to the cloud.
Oh, so I was using it.
It's a shot across the bow.
Yeah.
Microsoft
And
is what it is.
Sync in and edit and collaborate on.
I gave it, so our chief financial officer here, we were making her use Google Spreadsheet, and she said it's too slow, it's too awful, I need to use Excel. So I gave her this DocVerse so she could use Excel with Google Docs, which is what we're all Google Docs, all about Google Docs here. It's a great idea.
So does it sync the documents to Google Docs, or is it a separate server?
It's that's a good question. Apparently, it's very transparent. And my sense is it basically lets you use it as if Excel is a Google Doc. Although
right, like so the document's located in the cloud, and you can collaborate, and the changes sync to the cloud. This is a lot like Microsoft Live Workspace, which actually which I've been using for my book. My copy editor said I want to work in Word, and Word just Google Docs just didn't have certain features, advanced features that we needed, like building a table of contents and that kind of thing. So Google Docs does a lot, but not all the stuff that Word does. So we started using Microsoft Live Workspace, which means that I download the file to Word, edit it, and when I save it, it saves back up to the cloud. And it worked. I was surprised at how well it worked. Sorry, Microsoft. But it sounds like DocVerse is the same thing, right? So this is just Google's way of saying, if Docs doesn't do what you want, well, you can use Word and Excel on your desktop, but you can sync to the cloud. So it makes a lot of sense.
Ars Technica says it's a lot. It's also a direct competitor for SharePoint, which is I gotta say it's one of the Microsoft products that even open source geeks are kind of like the ones that I know seem to enjoy SharePoint, at least find it a pretty good product.
Yeah, I mean, if Google wants to make a credible sharing system, if it wants businesses to move to Google Apps, it needs to have a lot of those features. And the problem is that businesses use Office.
Right.
And so, but right now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I can save an Excel spreadsheet to my Office, my apps space, and then use it. So I'm not sure exactly what DocVerse does that's different. I guess it's versioning is the difference.
And also bridging the gap in compatibility, like Gina was saying, there's little, and you were saying too, these little tiny compatibility problems.
No, but I'm saying I can use Excel with Google Docs. And so I create a spreadsheet with Excel. So I get all the Excel features. Right. I save it up to Google Docs, and it's there, and then I share it. And so anybody who's using Excel can get it.
You mean you upload it to Google Docs as a file, like, or you import it into Google Docs, and now the spreadsheet is in Docs. You can open it.
No, we continue to use Excel.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to have to play with this because she's been using it, and I'm not sure how she's doing it, and I'm not sure exactly how it works. Maybe somebody in the chat room can give us a tip how this is different from what DocVerse does. But it is clearly the right thing for Google to do, and it is a shot across Microsoft's bow, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
So Google Docs lacks the versioning, they're saying, the versioning capability of DocVerse. And that's very important.
Very much so, especially when you have a copy editor who
who did what when.
Track changes was a huge thing that I use with my book, accepting those changes and that kind of thing.
Good. So this is I for one am happy about this because SharePoint is expensive. You've got to run a server. It's a big deal. It's heavy, and I don't want to run. We use a hosted Exchange server that gives us SharePoint capability, but it seems like overkill for what we're just so happy with Google Docs, and it's just a few of us where it's these special cases like your editor who has to use Word, or my CFO who has to use Excel. Those are the places where Google has been a little bit behind, and I think this is great.
And it makes tons of sense if Google is trying to hit the enterprise with Google Apps. If Docs, apps for enterprise is going to include Docs, they can say, hey, you can just, install this plugin for Microsoft Office and you're using Google Docs.
And as I remember, it was free.
Sorry,
go ahead.
And they also just introduced the universal any file upload. Google Docs just did. So
that's what I've been using. That's that new feature that I was using that let me upload Excel.
It doesn't matter what file it is. You get a gig of space, I think.
Right. So basically what it is it's like using Dropbox or something as a shared storage, but it's not smart about what's going on.
Right. I mean, with this, you're editing the document. You hit Control-S to save it, and it saves it directly to the cloud.
Right.
You're not manually uploading versions or anything.
Well, and the simultaneous, even Excel doesn't have locking. You have to use SharePoint to have multiple users on an Excel spreadsheet. This does that too, and that's huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's really huge. Okay, so the other company they bought is Piknik.
And one more we'll get to in a second. Yes.
So I've been using Piknik on Flickr. Does it leave Flickr now?
Oh, there was a story about top 6 questions about Piknik. Let me see if I can find it again.
Piknik, completely confusing spelling, but it's a photo editor. When you're on Flickr and you want to flip a photo or crop a photo or do some minor touch-up, Piknik is a really handy way to do it. It's not going to replace Photoshop by any means. But obviously, Google's plan is to make it part of Picasso Web, I would presume, or maybe even, I don't know. What do they need this for?
This is a Chrome OS thing.
Oh.
This is my theory. This is Google just saying, "Hey, look, you've got a photo editor right on your non-desktop."
Oh yeah, because any Linux user, any OS user, the first question is, "Can I run Photoshop on it?"
Exactly.
Always, or something like Photoshop.
No, that's very interesting.
Yeah, this is a Chrome OS move, I think.
So should we expect Google to acquire more web-based technologies like Piknik to add capability to Chrome OS?
Yeah, is there a web-based version of Final Cut out there?
Oh, yes. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I thought so.
I think there is.
Yeah.
Is there any that's as good as that's actually?
Well, you can't
usable?
maybe do Avatar on it, but
you know what I'm surprised.
Think about Piknik versus. I mean, Photoshop just pisses me off every time I launch it because it takes 25 minutes to launch because it's got so much, and all I want to do is crop a photo.
I'm really surprised that Google didn't acquire Aviary. Are you familiar with Aviary? This is like Photoshop.
Aviary is really powerful for being a cloud-based app. It's scary almost.
It's an image editor, color editor, effects editor, vector editor, so it's got kind of freehand. It's got screen capture. It's got image markup. It has now an audio editor. I think a photo or a video editor is probably just around the corner from this company.
Just last week, Aviary also went totally free. They had been charging a premium for, I think, like making your files private and such. But now Aviary is a totally free online app to everyone.
Now here's the question. All of this stuff uses Flash, right?
Yes, Aviary does.
Does Google? I mean, Piknik uses Flash too.
Right.
Does Google really want to get in the business of Flash tools on Chromium OS?
That's a good question. That is.
How hard is it to port something like this to HTML5? Is it possible?
Well, it's possible, but I don't think it's easy. I mean, I think that if you've done everything in ActionScript, you've done it in ActionScript. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, and the issue is really like support, browser support too right now.
What you'd really want is a JavaScript version of these. But I don't know. I mean, maybe that's why they didn't do Aviary, because Aviary really is very, very tied to Flash.
We posted on Lifehacker last week an app called Sketchpad, mugtug.com/sketchpad. And that's all HTML5.
That's what you want.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, actually. It's only got 12 tools, a few sliders, and a few controls, but it's a pretty impressive app for, totally coded in HTML5, no Flash, no Silverlight, no, right on your browser.
Yeah,
this is really cool.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is super cool.
So Google could, and Google's a pretty big proponent of HTML5. I could see them working with the Piknik folks to transition, or at least I hope.
So, am I wrong, or it strikes me that, well, I can tell you one reason I thought Piknik was Flash is because it wouldn't load in my Safari browser, which is Flash is screwed up on it. Let me see. It may just be the front page is flashy. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Piknik is Flash based, but maybe not. Maybe it's Java. Java's okay to Chromium OS, right? Or are they trying to do everything HTML5?
I'm not sure. And is Flash definitely out on Chrome OS?
Well, you
got to be able to use Flash, or else you're in the same boat as having an iPhone.
Yeah, but you would ultimately you'd want
and stuff, right? I mean, that's all Flash.
But wouldn't you want to eschew Flash ultimately and make it HTML5? I mean, isn't that really the long?
I think Google's own apps would make perfect sense in HTML5, but they're not going to eliminate Flash because it'll piss us all off.
The Piknik is written in Flex, which is Adobe's framework, Flash-based framework. So it is effectively Flash. I don't know. Now that's a really interesting question. I just assumed that Google was as dogmatic about Flash as Apple was. Maybe they're not. Why? I mean, wouldn't they want to be? Wouldn't they want to be standards based? I mean, you might include Flash compatibility for flexibility, but you really want to be standards based.
Right, but this could be a case where they're hiring a team.
Yes, that's right. Google's done that before.
Yeah, plenty of times.
But when you have a device like the iPad coming out with video capabilities without Flash, but with the ability to watch video, I mean, you also don't want to ship Chrome OS for netbooks without the ability to watch video or stream audio using Flash. I mean, because the only option is Flash, right? Because there's nothing but the browser. So It seems like even though Apple made the decision not to include Flash, and Google has an interest in not including Flash, speed being the primary one, right? It still seems like they've got a really good reason to include it.
Right.
So people can play games and watch video.
Right.
Right, but if they release the Chrome OS netbook without Hulu on it, that'll be the headline for the next 3 days. Immediately after they release it, like, where's Hulu? Where's Hulu?
Yeah.
Oh, man, though, if I were Google, I wouldn't want to support Hulu. I mean, Hulu's the enemy if you're YouTube. Hey, by the way, big profits for YouTube, at least according to one analyst. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Also, the Apple lawsuits. Before we do that, though, let me mention our friends at GoToAssist Express. GoToAssist is a product from Citrix, which does a remote access, of course, and they're the kings of remote access. They created it for Windows NT. Microsoft licensed it. And in enterprise, Citrix is the name. But they've got consumer applications that are just fantastic, like GoToMeeting, GoToMyPC. This is one not exactly for consumers. It's for the support professional, the IT person, or somebody who has software to support. I have to say I use it because I am my mother's support person. And so when mom needs some help, I just fire up GoToAssist. Now, the beauty of this is she didn't have to have it installed. In fact, we were just Skyping, and she said, I got a problem with, I can't figure out where my Quicken data is. So I did is I had GoToAssist installed on my system, by the way, Mac or PC. And I just said, okay, fine, here's a link. Click this. Sent it in the Skype chat. She clicked the link. Within seconds, GoToAssist was installed, and I was able to fix the problem like that. GoToAssist is designed for support for several reasons. You can do it unattended. So once she installed it and gave me permission to, I can get into her system anytime I want. Up to 8 sessions at a time. Makes it great for fixing one computer, moving to the next, running a scan or an antivirus. You can, this is great. This is so handy. I can drag a file. Let's say I have malware bytes or some tool that I need to put on their system. It's on my desktop. I just drag it to their desktop, and then I can run it on their system. That's just really a fantastic product. I want you to try it free. They do have day passes for people who do occasional support, but really this is for the professional. Go to gotoassist.com/twig, and you'll get 30 days free. gotoassist.com/twig. This is a great product. I highly recommend it. Been using it for years. And if you're in the support business, this will make you a hero. gotoassist.com/twig. So, what was the third acquisition, Jeff Jarvis?
I was wrong. The point was not that. It was Remail from a few weeks ago. But
well, they did buy that a couple of weeks ago.
They did.
Right.
But the news on it is that Remail, they made the Remail software open source.
Ooh. Yeah.
I can't imagine Apple's happy with.
Yeah. So Remail, by the way, which I think Apple knocked off the store, didn't they? I think it's gone.
I think Google removed it from the App Store.
Google did it. Okay, so
yeah,
Remail was a great program which I used. It downloaded your entire Gmail database, everything onto your phone, and since your phone has some memory, everything's there and searchable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Google said that they didn't really want that capability. They liked the search heuristics or something like that, right? Another engineering acquisition.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like they just really wanted the developer. I mean, why would they? I mean, they pull the app from the App Store and then they open source the code, which how many iPhone apps do you know are open source? I didn't even think that the terms of your agreement as an Apple developer that you could do that. But
I bet you that's why they pulled it off.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Okay. So they pull it off the App Store. They open source the code, and the developer basically says, "Hey, I would love to see this code as the basis of new iPhone apps that do cool stuff with your email. Grab the code, and don't worry about having to do all the work of grabbing the mail and having it all in local database. I've done that work for you, so you can make some new cool apps." So I think that's awesome. I hope some developers do grab that code. If I cared about developing for the iPhone, I would be certainly poking through it. But interesting. It sounds like to me, that sounds like they just wanted the engineer.
And the engineer himself, Gabor, was he was an intern in Gmail's engineering department.
Yeah.
And then he left, and then he created this iPhone app, and now he's back.
That's the great revolving door, isn't it?
It must feel good though to be an intern and then get the job, based on what you did. That's awesome.
That is kind of fantastic.
He's a really responsive developer too, so good luck to him.
I just found my database was so huge that it took a long time, even over Wi-Fi, to get the Gmail database. It took forever.
So it does some fancy compression stuff, right? I mean,
yeah,
that could get your whole.
It took gigabytes and made it megabytes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hundreds of megabytes, but still megabytes. No, I liked it. I guess I still have it, right? I mean, you can't...
Well, is this the beginning of the solution of the offline email for Chrome OS?
Ah, maybe.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Historically, I think about Jaiku, for instance, where you would say, oh, well, they hired Yuri and Petri to do, a Twitter clone. No. Or they hired them to do this or that. And historically, it seems like they just hire the talent, not necessarily to do the same thing. Yeah, it looks like, do I still have it? Maybe not. They can't pull it off my phone, can they?
So I imagine this fancy compression magic is available in the code. I mean, in the code, which is out there and published. So that's kind of interesting.
I'm sure they're just doing like Limple-Ziv or something. You think there's something better than that? I mean, it's just text.
Right.
Google doesn't compress it at all, in theory, right? They just leave it the way it is.
Right. But how does it handle like attachments?
It didn't pull attachments. It only pulls the text.
Okay. So it was just text. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this was an engineer acquisition then. This was just you're smart. We like you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he was using Limple-Ziv. Why would you try? I mean, how would you come up with something better? If you did, that's much more important than Remail.
Right.
Hey, speaking of developments, good news for Swipe users. Gina.
Thank you, Gina, perhaps.
Thank you, Gina.
Yes, thank you.
Nice job, Gina.
I don't know if I had anything to do with this.
Of course you did.
I mean, the CEO emailed me and said, hey, maybe let's chat. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him before the show today. So the Swipe team released a limited Android beta. So you can go to the swipe.com, you can sign up for the beta, and you can download Swipe.
They send you an email first.
Yeah,
okay. And then you have to. It's complicated, but it didn't seem like it. I mean, it seemed like it was automatic and instant. It wasn't like I had to get approved or anything.
So now, like a week ago, they're saying do not use the leaked, unauthorized version of Swipe because that's not even our business model. We're not even going to offer it in the market. We're just going to, OEM licensing is our business model. And this week they have this limited beta. So in a way, hey, that's great. I'm glad for the Swipe team. It sounds like they learned. It sounds like they realized that user feedback is a good thing, and that people who like your product.
That's an asset.
It's an asset, yes, but it is not clear whether or not Swipe is going to be available in the market. I can't tell if this beta is just to get feedback to help them with their OEM licensing deals, or to shut me up. Yeah,
they say very clearly when you install it. Now there are some features missing that we can only do on OEM phones. So I think it's a freemium thing.
Is the annoying beta? This resolution isn't.
Yeah, that's gone. Doesn't do that anymore. It just works.
Is that a new business model they stumble into, which is release the freemium model and create consumer demand to sell it for you to the phone companies?
Yeah, I think so. And it looks beautiful. It looks better than the beta did, right, Gina? I mean, it's really nice.
I have not installed it. I switched to ShapeWriter. I was a little annoyed with them with Swipe. I have to say, I'm really happy that I feel like they made the right decision. I felt like it was a mistake, their initial response. I think that this is great that they're doing the beta, but I've kind of moved on.
Oh, man, don't cross Gina. She's just tough. Golly.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great that they did it, and I think you should, if you're interested in going back to Swipe to try it, go for it. But I actually didn't sign up for the beta myself.
It really works really well.
Gestures now.
Yeah, gestures is well. Yeah. Now, I'm going to steal that from my tool, but you can talk about it if you want, because Gina tweeted it, and that's when, or buzzed it, and that's when I found it. So you get credit for it. But I was going to be my tool.
No credit.
We'll talk about gestures later.
Let's talk about it later. You can explain what it does later.
Please save my tool.
I won't touch.
I won't touch your tip if you don't touch my tool.
I wasn't going to say that. But you just did.
I said it.
I'm blushing.
I got no pride. None at all. And none of us are going to go anywhere near Jeff's number.
No.
No, we wouldn't do that. So some of the things that Kevin, when we emailed Kevin, he said he'd like to talk about is one of his rants on Lifehacker, why it doesn't pay to be Google's guinea pig. Are you Google's guinea pig, Kevin?
Well, on the whole, I'm a pretty big user of Google and whatnot. I'm running Chrome right now. Well, what I wrote about was it kind of built up where things were starting to rub me the wrong way. Buzz is, we've covered Buzz. You guys have covered Buzz quite a bit on here.
I'm still using Buzz. Aren't you all still using Buzz? I love Buzz.
Well, the issue there with instead of doing a closed beta and gathering feedback like Wave, which was really, I think Gina would agree, is a pretty good way of launching a product. Getting the right minds on it and using that feedback and then slowly rolling it out to people. Whereas Buzz, just all of a sudden one day you logged into your email and there it was, and without enough fickle, somewhat problematic, some would say, privacy settings. And I wrote about a few other things that I thought that Google's launch and then iterate method, which usually works pretty well for a lot of their products, I really felt didn't serve them well, which is basically Android and leaving a lot of cell phone users kind of unknowing as to whether they're ever going to get an upgrade, what kind of upgrade they're going to get.
That's too bad.
And also, Buzz and alienating some people from the launch. But then a commenter actually pointed out to me that one of the ones I was kind of like forehead smackingly missing was Google Gears, which now, I don't think most people are dependent on Google Gears, but if you liked offline Gmail, I love offline synced Google Docs. And even at Lifehacker, some of our editing software uses Google Gears in the background. But now, Google Gears, I really think, is only available basically on Chrome on Windows, unless you hack it together in Firefox on Windows.
And it might not be available even there soon,
right? Yeah, they've said that they're going to let the sunset on Google Gears and transition to HTML5. In the meantime, everyone who was an early adopter of Gears and was into it and even based some of their functionality around it now are pretty much left in the dust. And they haven't really said anything about stopgap measures for gears or anything like that.
Right.
And that was my main complaint was that there are certain things you have to release like a product, and
Not really.
there are other things.
Come on, they're giving this stuff to you for free. Come on.
That's true.
It's like that lady who was getting the free Wi-Fi who bitched when the guy moved.
That was great. That was a great
with
clip.
your Android phone, though, I mean, with my G1, which is
But wait a minute, you bought the G1 with the feature set it came with, right?
I did.
And so you're mad that
so if you bought a Razor, it's still the same Razor today as it was then.
I think the expectation that you're going to get something else is not.
Certainly, the Toyota is updated a lot less often than these things, and updates are good.
Sure, but Android is an open source operating system. I bought it with that because it has this ray of sunshine on it from being open source and backed by Google. And
the issue there is not that you're the guinea pig. The issue there is that they didn't make it updatable, the phone updatable enough.
It was such a crappy phone you couldn't update it.
Well, the G1 in that case, that is true. They didn't put enough memory on it to allow for over-the-air upgrades.
That's why I didn't buy it, because it was
Sure.
Well, actually I did buy it, but it's why I didn't but I didn't use it because it was clearly too slow.
Leo, can you give us a tour of your electronic graveyard someday?
It's all behind me here. Everything. Look, I got an Asus EPC, the first one, 7-inch screen, unusable. There's the first iPod, 5 gigabytes, usable, but it's too small now. There's a Newton back there somewhere. I got it all here. It's a museum. And the G1 is back here too.
And there's the HTC Hero, which is on, I think that's 1.5 now. And then the
that
G1,
is a little frustrating.
My Touch made to 1.6. The Droid is 2.0. The Nexus One is 2.1.1. And, and now Android and Me blog has said that they've heard, or they have sources saying that every phone is going to make it up to Android 2.1. And so that there are upgrades coming, and it's not entirely Google's fault. It actually isn't. It's the carriers and the hardware makers are at some point to blame for not getting their phones up to 2.1. But what does everyone know Android phones as? They're the Google phones. And I really think it hurts Google's brand when they're leaving phones that could be, I guess my key is the phones that could be updated that don't get updated. I think that's frustrating.
Yeah, I agree there, but I don't think that's a problem. I wouldn't want to discourage Google from continuing its beta philosophy, about as I start to write a book about that.
What's that going to be called?
Beta.
Ooh, I like that. That's really great. In fact, that was one of the complaints people had, that they just didn't put the label beta on Buzz.
Exactly.
All they had to do was put the label.
The point of beta is that it brings us up in the design chain and lets us have more of a voice in what the product is going to be and do, and that's good. So I think that the question becomes, your arguments, I think, then become matters of how realistic are the expectations you're given. Are you led astray by the expectations? And I think that's fair, A. And then B, how easy is it to get those updates when they occur? And I think that's also fair. But the philosophy of beta and the philosophy of enabling people to put stuff up to improve the product as it goes, I think that's sterling, and I wish other companies would do it.
I think that's true, and that's why I love Google Labs. I love the idea of being able to release features, and I'm fine with them telling me that play with this stuff in Gmail. It may break your Gmail, it may break your add-ons, and let us know what you think about it. I think that's a great way to launch products. Gmail, Google Reader, Google Maps. I love their Labs philosophy on the whole, but I think that I wonder if sometimes they don't think about the end user's experience with products where they don't give you that easy in the lab or out of the lab option, like with Buzz, like with Android to a certain extent, and with Google Gears.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree with Jeff, but I also agree with Kevin in that there are risks to being an early adopter to Google products. There are definitely risks, like Google Apps, the Google Apps versus Google accounts, Google Apps accounts versus Google accounts issue.
Right.
You switch to Google Apps. They're pushing Google Apps. You kind of move your email address, or even Google Voice to some extent. You switch your phone number. These is a big deal to change your email or your phone number, and then you don't quite get what you expect, and it's not clear that things aren't going to roll out as quickly, and it's confusing. I mean, I think that advertising the risks clearly is important. I think they've done really well with Wave. I think they didn't do so well with Gmail. Gmail was in beta for how many years? 5 years? 4
7.
years?
7.
It was 7 years. Okay.
And
so
by the way, my favorite Google Labs feature is you can put the beta back on the Gmail logo.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm all in favor of beta, but let's be mindful about when the label is on, how long it's on, and be clear about what that means. I
think you're right, Gina. I think there's a question. Is a beta baked enough to put it out as one issue? Is it been baked too long is another issue. And again, what's the label really bring to your expectations? And you can't just muck with it to make it meaningless.
Right, exactly. So like Wave is in preview. That's like pre-beta. And because it was an invitation only, that made it even more sort of super early adopter, canary in the coal mine kind of thing. I think that's a really good signal. Lab says very clearly, this might break, it might go away. We're just trying it out. I think that's really clear. The Gmail definitely abused the beta label, and I just think that Google has to be really clear about. I mean, everybody wants to try new Google products. I think they should just be clear about what level. Maybe they need like a threat level color or something.
That's a good idea.
How badly?
I almost mentioned Google Voice in that piece, and I actually had like a whole 3 paragraphs drafted, and then I pulled it out, and I even left a note at the end saying I almost did, because I think with Google Voice they actually have keeping it invite only, and I think they've done a better job with letting people know, like, hey, if you want to change your number and if you want to send that email to your entire family saying, this is my new number and whatnot, I mean, I will still be really miffed if Google Voice somehow doesn't work out, really miffed. But I think that they've done a better job in apps like that of explaining what the risks are to their adopters. And I still have my phone number if Google Voice goes down. My actual,
So the complaint isn't that they try stuff out on us, because I mean we like that. The complaint is that they're just not communicating well enough what the risks are. Not always, sometimes, but not always. And not always. In some cases, like Wave, they were clear. Voice, they were clear. But you're right. Buzz is a very good example of Google just because it has salted your Gmail inbox, and so many people use Gmail in a production environment. So introducing something that's clearly beta into a production environment is something that you're not. That's a good irony, because the only reason they took off the beta label on Gmail was because they were trying to sell it to enterprises. Right. And then they go, here, we'll give you something. Let's blow up your inbox. And I think that really upset people, and I understand why that would upset people. And they didn't make it clear enough that you didn't have to turn it on. They didn't make it easy enough to turn it off. They've addressed some of that, though, right?
Yes.
And I want to complain about my Google Slanket. It sheds.
And if they ever come out with one with a pocket, you won't be able to upgrade.
It has a pocket. It has a pocket.
It does.
Oh,
it's the beta blankie.
I'm sorry, with the built-in Wi-Fi.
It would have been great. They missed a big bet. It says Google on the pocket. It should have said beta. Yeah. They missed a bet. There was a real opportunity there. They're famous for the beta. You're working, Kevin, and I think this is really exciting. Just as Gina's done the complete guide to Google Wave, you're doing the complete guide to Google Android. I am. Are you going to do it the same way, like an online book and everything? Well, yes, I believe. Oh, wait a minute! I shouldn't have said that. It says here. Oh, look at you! Don't announce this. Why'd you put it in there? You don't know me, do you? I just read what's on the paper.
I've seen how fast you move, and I should have thought.
I'll cut that out.
Maybe I should have done all caps. No, I'm actually fine.
You're okay. I can cut that out.
No, it's fine. I'm working on a complete Android guide, and I believe it will have similar, if not the same, licensing and release as Gina's complete.
I love that. I can't wait to get it.
Complete guide to Google Wave. And if, secrets be known, Gina might have slightly pushed it by saying, like, gee, who really knows Android? And who on this show might have mentioned really wanting a Android guide.
We do. We want it.
Who referred to it as the operating system of Easter eggs? I don't remember.
So this will actually be a fun thing.
That was me.
That was Jeff.
Jeff gets credit to that.
So baked up in Twig and hard worked on in nights and weekends, and I believe it'll be. I don't have any idea of a release date yet, but it's moving along.
Well, so this is the tease for it.
This is the tease,
which is what you asked for in the first place. Someday, coming soon to a computer near you. Indeed. How many people use Android? Do we have any idea how the adoption is on Android?
That's a good question.
What was that last number? Shipping 60,000.
They said 80,000 Nexus 1s, right?
80,000.
But that's only the
there
Nexus.
was a number on total Android shipments, and I can't remember what it was.
I think it was 60,000 a day.
I think that's what I remember too. Yeah, that was at that rate now.
A day?
Right.
Does that mean handsets or just people downloading it? What does that mean?
I think that's shipped by manufacturers to stores, carriers, etc.
A day?
A day.
That's a lot. That's good.
What's that versus Apple? Anybody got any math genes?
Apple's millions, probably, right?
Chat room? Anybody? Come on.
Chat room.
Do I have the ability to harness the chat room, or is that like?
Yes, you do. Oh no. The ability is extended to anybody.
Leos, all Leos. You can't use them.
I give you permission. I give you permission to harness the vast power.
They're open APIs. The chat room.
Yeah. This is an open API. We do need an open API. Actually, we're doing that. Believe it or not, we're going to convert the chat room to XMPP, and there will be an open API to our chat room. Believe it or not, 6% of the smartphone market. Apple's is 16%. So 6 is not shabby. 6 is not
too shabby.
Yeah. But 60,000 a day. That sounds very high. 90,000 a day for the iPhone.
10 million in 2008 for iPhone, says Miss M.
Yeah.
60,000 a day times 365 days would be what, folks?
Oh, come on now. They don't do math. What do you think they are?
They're off
galley slaves.
Come on, somebody. Come on.
Assign them math problems. What? Oh, wait a minute. Kyle knows. He's in our audience. How many is it, Kyle? He says 60,000 times 365. He's got his iPhone out. You have to do this on an Android phone.
21.9 million.
That's what he said.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, can't be right.
No.
Can't be right. However, I think Android penetration has kind of reached that critical mass at this point.
I'm seeing a lot more Nexus Ones than I ever thought. I was at a geek lunch in Chicago this week with Anil for Expert Labs, and there were quite a few Nexus Ones at the table, many more than I expected. So I'll be interested to see what it's like at South by Southwest. I want to know how many folks will be toting an
I
Android
hope it's
phone
not taken off
versus
yet
iPhone.
because I want that Spectrum, damn it.
Yeah, T-Mobile Spectrum, is that what we're hoping for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Austin's...
And Verizon in the spring, right?
I'm bringing my Droid.
23rd.
I'm bringing my iPhone, my Droid, and my Nexus One. I figured one of them is going to work.
One of them's got to work.
And
we want to be able to brag that we can actually make a call in Austin.
I am also streaming, from South by Southwest via 3G. So I'm hoping that the 3G networks aren't all down. We have this box called a Live Streamer or Livestream. Ustream's loaning it to us that has slots for 8 USB, or maybe they're not USB, but it has 8 3G connections, 2 from each of the big 4 carriers. And then if AT&T is swamped, it automatically load balances. And
Wow.
so in theory, I can walk around with this thing. It's a 20-pound backpack.
You're a brave
You're
man,
gonna be a little
Leo.
sweaty, Leo.
If you see a guy, and I'll have a staff which has a camera and a microphone on it and a light.
You're gonna have a staff and a robe,
And I'll be wearing the slanket.
You're gonna have the robe and the giant backpack.
I should wear a miter to really complete the look. And
So
then,
when I was in Vegas this last week, speaking, by the way, to the National Association of Truck Stop Owners.
You're kidding.
That was great. It was great. Let me stay on that for 1 second. So my favorite product discovery was caffeinated beef jerky, called, of course, Perky Jerky.
Perky Jerky.
Nice.
That must be what Gina is living on. Perky Jerky.
heck yeah.
Driving geeks can eat that. And there was another product called Monkey Butt, a soothing powder. I'll let you know. But anyway, so in Vegas they had 4G. What do I want to say? Not Wi-Fi, but
WiMAX.
thank you, WiMAX. And I couldn't get it to work, darn it. But I kind of liked the idea that I could say, to hotel overpriced Wi-Fi.
Right. We used it in Vegas for CES, and it was about the same as 3G. It wasn't anything mind-boggling.
That's what Austin. If anybody had half a brain in one of those telcos, they should be installing that in Austin because
Sprint. It's Clearwire, but Sprint does it in Vegas. And I think Sprint has the Clearwire franchise everywhere else too. So Sprint, if you're listening, Clearwire, fast.
You got 1 week.
What is going to be the breakout application in Austin? In 2007, it was Twitter. 2008, was it Foursquare?
Yeah.
It was last year. I think.
It was 2009 Foursquare?
2000,
Yeah.
What will be the I bet Buzz. I'm sure Buzz was released. The timing of Buzz's release had something to do with South by Southwest, don't you think? Maybe
I
not.
think the
Possibly.
snarky geeks of South by Southwest.
They're not going to like it. They're not going to use it. No. Gowalla, maybe.
Yeah, isn't Gowalla located in Austin?
Oh.
So they may be, I think they may have some plans.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use Buzz. There's an iPhone app called Buzzy that is really essentially just a repackaging of the mobile, but it's a little faster. My mobile's broken on my iPhone. It won't load. It won't. I keep seeing the same posts from weeks ago. I don't understand what's going on. So I use Buzzy on the iPhone, and I actually Maps to me is a great Buzz client on the Android platform. Let's talk about your top 10 Android picks. Actually, Kevin, we took a look at those last week. Great article on Lifehacker.
Thank you. Sorry.
You go ahead. How did you pick them?
Well, I'm really the only full-time
Android
amazingly
user?
enthusiastic. Am I okay here?
Yeah.
The video? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about it. If it's bad on your end, it's good on our end. So it doesn't.
Gotcha. I guess my editors kind of left me alone to pick out, and I also went through the Lifehacker archives and saw what we'd liked before and whatnot. And I tried to come up with 10 apps that were both, useful, mostly useful actually, and in a few cases like Layar just seemed cool and seemed like they were going to get even cooler. Right. And Layar actually is pretty cool when I walk around. Even a place like Buffalo, you can walk around and get you see oh look, there's a Wikipedia article based on that old architectural building or whatnot. Frank Lloyd Wright, a really good presence here, so that helps. I will say that since last week, I did move Task Killer free, which was, I think, at the number 3 slot. I moved that up to number 6, and I left an update in the post because I'd been gently schooled by a number of really smart Lifehacker readers about task killing on the Android. And I know you've mentioned before, Leo, that there have been times when an app has run
I do it all the
on
time. Is it not? Am I not supposed to do that?
No, it's not. And for that purpose, for apps that just go haywire, or it seems like something is dragging your phone down, or doing a huge data push in the background, that's what I think Task Killer really comes in handy for. But in terms of, I was kind of using it as this placebo effect of and just killing apps, stop running, and thinking it was freeing up memory for me. But that's a little dangerous to do in terms of phone functionality. You never quite know what you're killing, and also things like alarm clocks and other services that are supposed to be running in the background you can endanger. So I think it's still useful for Android users who know that something can occasionally go awry and wrong, but it shouldn't have been such a prominent.
Really, I kind of disagree a little bit. I mean, you have to use it judiciously, and almost all of these killers will allow you to say, "Don't kill this." So if you have an alarm clock that you keep running, which I do,
and Task Killer does have a way you can press it in the setting, open the Task Killer app, and then press and hold on an app, and you can set it to the ignore list, which means it won't kill it ever.
Yeah, I use a different one from the one you use. I use something called Advanced Task Killer, which is also free.
Okay.
But I do it prophylactically a lot, and I haven't had any problems. Just because I have had the phone become sluggish. You know what my biggest problem, and I think we've all observed this, is that sometimes the keyboard gets either the digitizer gets completely off, so you press this lags, or you press Q and get a space. And I don't know what the best way to fix that is. It seems some people say just off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sleep the display and pop it back on. That often can help.
Yeah, not a full off and on, but just the off button, and then the display goes off and you turn it back on.
I just found that with using Task Killer and using the widget on the home screen sometimes, it was too entropic for me to figure out why isn't Remember the Milk syncing anymore, or why is the music now not responding to my headphone buttons or something like that. So
there's little tasks that are running all the time you don't want to kill.
Right, and it has maybe you've got a really good setup with everything properly ignored, but it's still useful. But the other apps on the list I think are just really good, either utilities or just kind of cool apps that really make you glad you have this little tiny, basically, computer in your hand or in your pocket.
All right, I had to look it up. Entropic. Lack of order or predictability, just for people who are like me here. It's a physics thing. He's showing off. But he should, because if you know that word, I'm very impressed.
Hey, this is a great show for vocabulary. We learned penurious a couple of weeks ago. Now we know entropic.
CS-113, actually. That was a computer science callback, I guess.
Did you study at RIT? Where'd you go to?
Oh, no, I wish. They wouldn't have let me in. I went to University of Buffalo, UB.
UB. Mm-hmm. And what is the mascot of the University of Buffalo?
The bull.
Of course, because if it were a buffalo, it would be confusing.
Right. It's Victor E. Bull.
A bull.
They've only been a Division I team for a few years.
You live in a town named Buffalo, but you've got a bull.
Well, yeah, there are no actually buffalo in Buffalo, you know.
Oh.
It comes from the French for Beauflot, beautiful river.
Oh, you kidding?
Or the buffalo in Buffalo have wings.
Right. Those are wings that flow beautifully.
Yes, this is all accurate history of Buffalo.
Let's take a break. I want to talk. We said we would, and I want to talk very much about HTC and the lawsuits, which seems like Google dodged a bullet there with Apple. We'll talk about that in a second, but first I do want to remind you to back up. Always be backing up. That's the famous saying from Glenn Ross. Always be backing up. If you have a hard drive, it will die. If you have data, you will lose it unless you back it up. If you have a laptop, you know what the number of laptops that get lost or stolen every year is in the hundreds of thousands. It's just crazy. I get so many calls from people who have lost their precious family photos, their financial documents, whatever. Back it up. And the best way to do it, automatic off-site Carbonite. Just remember that, automatic off-site Carbonite. Carbonite encrypts your data using AES 256-bit, sends it up via SSL, so you're very secure. And it makes that data available not only with an iPhone app, I'm going to talk a minute. In fact, I did last time I met with the CEO, I said, Android app. This would be a good Android app. So I understand they might be working on one. You can check the data from your phone. You can check it from any computer. You get any file. If you want to move your data from one computer to another, you just move the account, restore the data. It's all there. Now, of course, you have to have broadband. And if you have gigabytes of data, it takes a while for that first backup. But then afterwards, it's always updating every time a file's changed. So you never are caught with your pants down or something. Go to Carbonite.com and try it free right now. The offer code is TWIG, T-I-W-I-G. Offer code is TWIG, T-W-I-G. You get 2 weeks free, no credit card needed. If you decide to buy after the free trial, and I really want you to do the free trial, make sure it's right for you, then it's 2 months free. Less than $5 a month for unlimited backup. Carbonite, backup done right. Offer code this week in Google, TWIG. All right, let us talk now about the you had a I think a pithy response to the HTC lawsuits by Apple, Jeff Jarvis. It was I'll lead off. I'm mad at Apple. What the hell? Compete.
Yeah, I'm too.
Compete. Don't litigate. Innovate. Don't litigate. Seems like litigation. I understand they have a right to protect their patents, and you know I'm not denying their right to do so. But is it really the best thing for the world, or even for Apple?
You know, at what point, you know, here you got me, Apple fanboy, and I got my iPhone, and I love my iPhone, and you all corrupted me and made me carry the Nexus 1.
We made you do it.
Yes, you did. You did. Yeah. What they say I do, whatever Gina says I do.
It's the slanket.
I am not alone.
It's the slanket.
But yeah, it makes me say, here's the conundrum I get into. I want to say F you Apple and stop using Apple products because I'm mad enough, but of course I'm not going to because I love Apple products. What am I going to do? Use Windows?
Right.
No. But it's really irritating in terms of the bad citizenship that it shows when you pull these things.
It's not. They're not alone. In fact, the New York Times Bits blog had a great chart of who's suing whom in mobile, and it's just a mess. I mean, Apple's suing Nokia, Nokia's suing Apple. Kodak's suing Apple, Apple's suing HTC. Research in Motion is suing Sharp and Motorola. Sharp is suing LG Group, who's also suing Kodak, who's suing Sharp. Apple is suing Samsung. Nokia is suing Samsung. Nokia is suing LG Group, Toshiba, Hitachi. Qualcomm suing Nokia, who's suing them back. It's a mess. And you know, and this is not good for anybody. I mean, especially Apple. I'd hope for more from Apple. I mean, what's the best way for Apple to respond if they feel that HTC has violated their patents? By the time this is settled, those patents will be, you know, meaningless anyway. Just move on. Make something even better.
And they run the gamut too. The 20 patents that they're filing, they run the gamut from very specific things that I don't quite get, like GSM signal processing and that type of thing. And then also, but then things like slide to unlock on the iPhone, like just moving your thumb left or right.
They claim that
turn on the phone.
You know, the gesture we have on Android, you know, which is, you know, you unlock an iPhone with a number and then a slide. Oh, I see. Later, then you get the slide. That's what they're saying. That slide to unlock thing.
Yeah, that, and then also the user state awareness, which means that I'm talking on my phone and it knows that it's against my ear, and then I'm putting my phone down, and so it knows I want the screen back on. They're saying that that's patented, and they have a really goofy patent illustration with it too.
Yeah, was multi-touch in there?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
This is the one.
This is a scary one, actually.
Well, this is the. I wonder if this. I mean, the risk that, and one of the reasons I think they sued on 20 patents is because there's a significant risk that some of these will just be overturned, right?
Yeah,
or the complaint against
the patent.
HTC.
I mean, I think that there's no merit in the multi-touch patent, for instance. There's demonstrably prior art in multi-touch.
Yes.
So it's a weak patent to begin with. They shouldn't have gotten in the first place. And the risk of suing is that the patent itself gets lost, right? Or maybe not.
We need an attorney. Did I ever say that before in life?
Yeah, we need an attorney.
The other question I asked, and I didn't get the full answer, but what is, you know, Apple's hypocrisy here? As I remember the story, Xerox sued Apple, but too late, because Apple stole the mouse and stole the GUI from elsewhere.
Right. So, but let's say Xerox had sued. Would that have saved anybody anything?
No, that's why I think the fact that they didn't for all those years was a smart thing. And, you know, yes, they didn't exploit their own inventions, and that's their own damn fault. But they added to the world. They remain legendary to this day and have a little more cred and creativity as a result than they necessarily deserve for their actual actions. And,
isn't that the risk to Apple, is that they could do a lot of PR damage? What if they succeed? They went to the ITC and said, we want you to stop all importation of HTC phones into the U.S.
How many here would pick it at Apple Store?
Yeah. What if they succeed and you just can't get it? HTC makes the best phones out there, period. Not just, you know, Google-based, but also Windows Mobile-based. They're fantastic phones.
I have this vision, Leo, of you standing in front of an Apple Store with a video camera on you and a blankie on you as you smash your iPhone into the ground and protest and try to set it on fire.
Right. So it's bad for Apple.
Yeah.
Because potentially the PR, I mean, if they succeed and, you know, the ITC says, nope, that's it. No more containers of HTC phones enter this country. Ooh, that's going to be painful. That's going to be painful.
I agree with you. And I think that at some point, Apple does risk something here. We put up with their control freaky ways because they're so good. But, you know, it's like the links in Marley's chain. There's a lot of history here with control freakishness. And when it starts affecting others outside of Apple, and it's a, nah, you can't have that because I want to be mean to Google. The other interesting thing here, of course, is that they didn't have the guts, editing myself, to sue Google.
Right. That's the interesting thing, because after all, the multi-touch stuff especially is a Google. Maybe they will. Yeah. Maybe Monday they'll sue Google. I don't know.
I think Jeff's right, too, in that. I'm sorry. I thought, Jeff, you're right, too, in that previously it's been, what have been the big, you know, Apple things have been a lot focused around the App Store and what, you know, could you get Google Voice on your iPhone? And that's pretty abstract for the average iPhone-loving, you know, MacBook-toting user. But when you start reaching into people's pockets and saying what, you know, that, hey, give me back that phone or give me back that multi-touch and that slide unlock, I think that will carry a much, they'll reach a larger audience, that kind of negative message.
It'll reach just that far, exactly. Is that imagine a successful court case in which the court orders Google, HTC et al. To disable functions because Apple won the case.
The jailbreak community be thrilled.
Yeah.
Or the rooting community. Imagine that we all get this really crippled Android phone and then have to install a custom ROM to get all the stuff back that we used to have.
Nothing, right? Google will say, it's them, not us. Puh.
Well, how much of this was brought on by Google putting multi-touch into its apps, do you think? I mean, was that with the precipitating act?
You would assume they had this lawsuit in the works for a while before, and Nexus just got its multi-touch. So it seems like this has been building for a little while.
Okay.
Well, Leo, that was your scoop. That the reason we didn't get multi-touch at first was at Apple's request to Google, and that's when they were still talking on the playground.
Right. And the contention of the anonymous person who emailed me on this was that Apple requested it of Google because they didn't want to sue, that they knew that if Google did put multi-touch in, they would have to defend their patent, and their concern was that the patent wasn't defensible and it could all come tumbling down. Of course, by throwing 19 other patents in there, you kind of obscure. Truth is, I did not see the multi-touch in there. I'm just assuming that multi-touch is in there. Ours had a list of 10 of them, that none of which included multi-touch, but I haven't seen all 20.
I could swear it was in there.
You'd think it would be. I mean, if they didn't, maybe that would be telling. And, of course, the New York Times blog post goes on to say that one of the reasons these patent lawsuits – Nick Bilton, writing in the Times this week, said one of the reasons these lawsuits have exploded – in the past, patent lawsuits really would be about kind of licensing and okay, we'll settle this, we'll license it. But patent trolling by companies who bought patents and sued just to make money has really made this a much more vicious fight. And you got to think that Apple's not just trying to get money here.
No.
I don't even think Apple's trying to get licensing fees. I would guess that Apple wants to that this is anti-competitive on Apple's part.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it feels like.
What they don't want is another big Verizon Droid launch where someone's going to come out of the gate, partner up with Google, and say, come out with this 2-month campaign where they basically pick on the iPhone.
Right.
I think maybe it's a little bit of a shock and awe type tactic to let carriers and manufacturers know, like, hey, don't think you can, just come out and say, oh, we do everything the iPhone does. Maybe.
None of them. Okay.
Leo, I correct myself. According to
Engadget,
I got Gizmodo.
Okay.
Right. Notably among the patents, anything pertaining to multi-touch.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah, and Engadget has a very. Somebody in the chat room has sent me a link to the excellent Engadget article, Apple versus HTC, a patent breakdown, which is a good name. Nilay Patel, and he says, of note, most of the patents were granted in the past year, but overall they span a range of 1995 to February 2nd, and most of the patents are dry and technical, and none of them cover anything like pinch to zoom. So maybe Apple is kind of gun shy about that.
So they go after boring stuff, they go after a manufacturer, they don't go after Google, but they end up going after Google. This is the shot across the bow?
It's a weird indirection because, clearly these are anti-Android. It's an anti-Android lawsuit, but it's not an anti-Google. I don't understand.
Palm has multi-touch too. Hasn't that been an issue as well?
Yeah. And they're not suing Palm.
Not yet.
Well, we'll find out. Maybe next week.
Our patent system just is so.
That's what's really wrong.
Messed up.
It's just broken. It's just broken, and it's getting worse. Any other stories we would like to cover before I move on to our tip, tool, and trick?
You were going to talk about gesture.
Well, that's going to be my tool.
I'm sorry.
That's my tool.
That's up there.
Yes, Gina?
Can we quote the Onion article a little bit? Because that made me laugh so hard today when I saw it on Friend Feed.
Please do.
Oh, my God.
Please do.
Wait, I have to hunt it down here. There are just so many choice quotes, especially after I said that Schmidt freaks me out last week, which I felt a little bad about after the fact.
Well, he freaks me out, so I'll say that too.
You'll say that too? Okay,
yes.
good.
And he's only
getting
crickets after I said that. It's okay because he's only getting paid $1, so it's okay.
Thank you, Leo.
Oh, so never mind. I didn't say anything.
Jesus,
Nothing. I say nothing. I mean nothing.
It's safe around you. You are the kleptomaniac. I sweat and I struggle to find one silly number.
What number? I didn't say a number. No number. No number.
Out now.
No number. Nothing.
So the Onion article.
Google responds to privacy concerns.
Yes.
A dramatic reading by Gina Trapani.
Responding to recent public outcries over its handling of private data, search giant Google offered a wide-ranging and eerily well-informed apology to its millions of users on Monday. We would like to extend our deepest apologies to each and every one of you, announced CEO Eric Schmidt, speaking from the company's Googleplex headquarters. Clearly, there have been some privacy concerns as of late, and judging by some of the search terms we've seen, along with the tens of thousands of personal email exchanges and Google chat conversations we've carefully examined, it looks as though it might be a while before we regain your trust. Added Schmidt, whether you're Michael Paulson, who lives at 3425 Longview Terrace and makes $86,400 a year, or Jessica Goldblatt from Linwood, Washington, who already has well-established trust issues, we at Google would just like to say how very truly sorry we are.
The image is great. So they have a Google Maps image, and it says, for instance, gives an address in Staten Island. Apologies to the Tobbs, whose kids are a little too old to be bathed together. Apologies to Amanda Byrne. We both know why. Please forgive us, Keith Tompkins, the way you forgave Rebecca, even though she rubbed it in your face.
I mean, there are just so many good gems. You must read the whole thing.
It's really good. It's really
Schmidt apologized to users, particularly the 1,237,948 who take daily medication for anxiety, for causing any unnecessary distress. I mean, there are just some really good lines about, I must read the article, but I laughed out loud in my office today. So thank you, Leo, for
I didn't put that in there. I don't know how. Oh, well, you know who got it in there is Dane. But, there is a link on there to an earlier video from the Onion News Network on the Google opt-out feature. Have you ever seen that? Oh, let me play a little bit of this video. I love the Onion News Network because it really feels like an actual news story.
Concerned about your privacy while using Google? The internet giant says it understands. Google is now offering users a chance to opt out and live in privacy in a remote mountain village. Tech Trends reporter Jeff Tate has more.
Thanks, Teresa. They call it the opt-out village, and it's just what you'd expect from Google.
If you want to keep your information private, all you have to do is move to our 22-acre opt-out village and not speak to anyone from the outside world. It's very simple.
Just go to the Google front page, click the opt-out button, and in minutes, a van will come to your house and pick you up. That same day, a team of Google privacy experts eliminates your home address, guaranteeing it will no longer appear on Google local pages. And after just 2 days in the back of a van, you're there.
In the village, we can guarantee that there's no chance of Google reading your emails because there are no computers. And because they're also monitored and tracked by Google, there are no banks or hospitals.
Residents will be expected to know how to grow food, suture wounds, and bury corpses by hand.
You get the idea. Well worth going to that page and seeing both the article and the apology and the video. Google's just ripe for this kind of jokes, I'm afraid.
Yeah, they deserve it. It's a lot of fun.
They've earned it.
We tease because we
imagine
love.
they must have guffawed up in the Googleplex over that one.
Oh, yeah.
They had to.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Let us now. You don't have to participate, Kevin, unless you want to. Yes.
Oh, you got one?
No, I have one. I'll wait till the.
You can do it.
Better not be one.
We'll get you go last.
Okay.
I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe we better start with Jeff's number so nobody preempts him.
No big deal. And I don't understand this story actually, which I'll rarely admit, but I will this time.
It's from the Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal. Google's top 3 executives, Brin, Page, and Schmidt, took $1 in compensation for the last year, did not receive bonuses, took no stock.
That's bizarre.
That usually is the case when a company's messing up and it's horrible, but their stock gained 85% last year.
Yeah, why would they not take money?
I don't get it. It's like it's like, who are they, Craig Newmark?
I mean, it's exactly. It's like, okay, no bonus if you messed up, but you made billions.
Exactly. Now the chief financial officer got a bonus of $2 million, and
I mean, let's face it, they're not poor, any of them.
No, exactly. And I on one hand, I salute them, just saying, well, it's not about money, fine, but it is capitalism. I'm puzzled by this one.
You know what happened, because Larry and Sergey probably have billions. You know, they in fact they did, as I remember, they liquidated some stock this year.
Yes, they did.
So they've got hundreds of millions of dollars, and they both said they're in the meeting. Eric Schmidt's sitting there. We're not going to take any compensation this year. We're going to take $1, and they look at Larry. I mean Eric. They look at Eric.
Well, actually, Leo, maybe that raises the point. Because they liquidated so much stock this year, they just didn't. It was bad for taxes.
Yeah, it could be a tax thing.
Take the income, and it's going to go nowhere. I don't know. We should be so lucky.
Yeah.
These are the problems you want to have.
$1 is your number.
Thank you. I feel good now.
Gina Trapani has a tip for us. Gina?
I do, and I have a quick tip pimp. I wrote a story this month in this month's issue of Maximum PC.
I love that magazine.
Maximum PC is a great magazine, and I am really privileged to have the cover story this month in the April issue. It's called The Power User's Guide to Google.
How do you find time to do all this? Good Lord, you must work 24/7.
There was an all-nighter involved in the story for
Leo,
me.
Youth is an amazing thing to watch.
Youth. She's a youth.
There are 45 tips here, 6,000 words. I learned a lot, and there's a lot of good stuff here. So check out the magazine, and I'm going to feature some of the tips in the next few weeks on the show here. But you should buy the magazine because they're good people, and it's a good read.
It's always been one of my favorites, actually. Yeah.
My small but relevant pimp. So my tip this week, this is a new feature that rolled out in Wave, a much needed feature. It's a very tiny step toward Gmail integration or just email integration. If you have logged into Wave and looked at it and thought it was kind of cool but never went back again and don't know when people wave you, log back in and click on the inbox, on the arrow on the right side of the inbox. There is now a new menu item called notifications. If you click on that, you can get emails from Wave anytime somebody waves you or updates a wave that you are participating on. So I think this is going to
kind of buzz-like.
Kind of buzz-like, but just let you know something happened. Somebody said something to you in Wave, which I think will make a really big difference for folks who use it occasionally, or just couldn't get other people to use it with them, or never had a reason to go back. I've been using it this week, and it's looking pretty good. They really need whitelist. They need a lot more features, but this is kind of the first step to connecting Wave to your email inbox. So check out Wave notifications.
Very good. Very good. And finally, and you get credit really for this one too, Gina, because you buzzed it or tweeted it. I can't remember which. And I immediately, whenever Gina says, "Oh, check this out," I immediately download it and try it. And you're right, it is the coolest thing. If you've ever used something like Launchy on Windows, or Launch Bar or Quicksilver on the Macintosh, this is the kind of the Droid version of those programs. It lets you. Oh, I'm holding up my iPhone. I should get my iPhone out of the shot. That's terrible.
You don't like the iPhone now.
I don't. Well, I happen to have it around, but I don't. I'm a Nexus 1 lover. So it's called Gesture Search, and it's kind of the same idea as Quicksilver, which is you type the first letter of what you're searching for. Well, you got to do it right. See, you see the lag? That's just killed me on that. So I type an H, and then when I have to backspace because it has those previous strokes. There's the H, and then it goes through your contacts and everything else, and searches for everything from H, and then the second letter narrows it down, and the third letter narrows it down, and you're typing below, and it remembers your gestures. So now I've included my music in here, so I've typed
Is it searching just the phone or the web?
It searches the web
phone.
too, doesn't it? No, just the phone?
It searches your bookmarks, contacts, music, songs.
See, browser
and
bookmarks. Okay, apps, music. And music is not on by default, but I added that because I have a lot of music on there. And so I was typing HOU, and I got, Burning Down the House and other suitable HOUs in here. Burning
Down the House.
Yeah, H. Does it do lowercase too, Gina, or is it just all uppercase?
It does lowercase. It does actually a very good recognition of letters.
It's amazing.
It's really good, and I'm curious to know whether or not this is going to become a universal input option eventually.
Yeah, why not? I mean, basically, I'm able to.
It's the end of the old keyboard. Is this the death of QWERTY?
Right.
I mean, it seems like Google's going out of their way to make input methods into your phone anything but the touchscreen, right? So you've got take picture, search by taking a picture, find something and then mark it by scanning the barcode, voice to text input, so speak your query, and now you've got this gesture search. So it's like, how many ways can we get you to avoid your keyboard? which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the future of computing in general is new input devices, and especially a small device like this. You don't want to use a keyboard.
Right.
I love it. You were raving about it, and as soon as I downloaded it, I saw why. It's a really useful little tool, and it's free. Gesture search. It's free in the marketplace, and it's from Google. It's
yet another non-iPhone app. Let's add this to the list of apps available for Android, which are not available for the iPhone.
Yes.
Another South by Southwest bragging right.
And it goes the other way too, because a lot of iPhone apps that I thought were unique to the iPhone are now migrating over. For instance, Bump, which I used a lot on the iPhone to exchange business cards, is now available on Android. And you can bump with an iPhone. So if we're at South by, you should put this on here. And you have all these snarky iPhone users saying, "Well, I guess I can't bump you my contacts." You could say, "Well, yes, you can. Just you know how bump works? You go like this, and it sends the contact information over."
I have not done that. That's cool. So
really
now,
cool.
wasn't there one where you shook the phones together? You took the two phones and kind of put them next to one another and shook them? Was that Bump?
I think that's it. I think it's Bump. Yeah, and you can send pictures or other data that way as well.
Can we fist bump at South by?
Yeah, if you had your phone in your hand and I had mine, all you have to do is like that. They don't have to touch. It's just it's the accelerometer saying, "Oh, I got shook." So shaking would do it. And there is an application on the Android that I haven't figured out, but maybe it's just because I don't know anybody that has it. This week, make another tool called Hocker, H-O-C-C-E-R, like soccer, that lets you throw things.
Oh yeah.
And then you can go like this and catch it. So I could.
Okay, that's fun.
Is that fun or what?
I dare you the two to just start doing that on the streets of Austin.
We can play Hocker with each other. So it knows where I am. I have receive, but I can also catch to receive a distribution, and I don't know how you. Oh, you select the content this way. So let's say I'm in my gallery and I want to throw you a picture, Gina, or I could throw you my contact information.
We are so doing this next Saturday in Austin.
We're going to play Hocker. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So I'm just going to, let's say, oh, here's my media pass for the iPad announcement. Maybe you could print this out and use it next time. And I'll just, I'll Hocker it to you. Is that weird?
Oh, yeah.
I love
That's cool.
It's not on the iPhone. There's no app for that. And by the way, Apple...
We're such annoying smug geeks.
I know! Hey, snark goes both ways. Let me just point that out. Apple recently just killed today, I think, all the Wi-Fi searching tools like NetStumbler on the iPhone. They just killed them. They're gone.
Yahoo Maps too, yeah.
What's with that?
Wait. They got pulled from the App Store just today?
Yeah. And somebody says it was pulled from their phone as well. I don't know if that's true or not.
I'd read something a little earlier in the week saying that apps that use, I'm not sure, because it would be crazy to pull all of them, but apps that use Wi-Fi to locate you, maybe in a way that without being explicit about it, I think they pulled those. Like I remember Yahoo Maps got pulled because it tries to geolocate you without GPS or cell signal. So I think that was a little earlier in the week, but I did read about that.
Reports came out a few days ago that all the iPhone OS applications that sniff out Wi-Fi, scanning the vicinity for signals and other information have been removed from the App Store. They were dropped because they used a private framework, hooks into the operating system that are not documented, which is Apple's done this before, nor allowed for third-party developers to use. So they got approved in the first place, but as is often the case, Apple, after the fact, said, no, we're not going to allow you to do that. This is, again, why I'm just happy that I'm using an Android phone.
Wow. You contrast that to, I maintain a set of Firefox extensions for Google Apps, and they're based, they're not API based, right? They're based on just the HTML on the page. They're user scripts, Grease Monkey user scripts that do things to the page. Right. I actually got an email from Google saying, we're going to change an app that you have an extension for, like the HTML is going to change, and we'd like to show you what it's going to look like so that you can prepare your extension in advance.
Oh,
okay, so I'm using unauthorized hooks, unauthorized being just the HTML, into their app, and they're helping me as a developer do so. So contrast that to Apple saying, like, you're using methods that we haven't published, or API methods we don't authorize, so we're just going to pull your app from the store. I mean, that's the difference.
I'm told Hocker is also available on the iPhone, so we can still throw things at iPhone users as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you all for being... Kevin, I'm sorry, Kevin. You said you wanted to add something after our tips, tools, and number.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to mention that for all you Google fans out there who use Chrome and Android and anything else that Google makes, pretty much. I wrote a feature on Lifehacker this week called the Easy Any OS Any Browser Password Solution, and LastPass, LASTPASS. I found that really useful for.
I use it like crazy. I love it.
Oh, you do?
Oh, I love LastPass.
It's great, and it's works for Firefox, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari on Windows and Mac, and it's available. It has an app for almost every kind of smartphone there is out there, and I just converted over to it a week or two ago. But it's a really easy solution for keeping your web passwords secure, but also having them at your fingertips when you log in. It uses something called host-proof hosting, which I'm not a security geek, but I believe it just means that your passwords are kept encrypted on LastPass's servers, but they never actually see that stuff. The encryption happens in your own browser or on your own phone. And I've just been using it on my Android phone and Chrome, and found it really, really helpful.
It's on the iPhone too, and what's nice is it imports all of your bookmarks from Safari, Internet Explorer, Firefox. I mean your passwords. So if you've already got a large password store, which almost everybody does,
and Gina's a big fan of KeePass, which is open source, and it can take imports from KeePass and whatnot. So I really got into it this week. So
I agree, Kevin. What a great program. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to check it out.
Our security guy, Steve Gibson, has heard us recommend it so many times that he says he's going to look into its model and everything to make sure it is secure. And I mentioned on Security Now, the only thing that worries me is the company's a small company out of Vienna, Virginia, which is just down the road from the CIA. And I thought, boy, if I were the CIA, I would make something like this. Make it really good. Get all the geeks to use it just in case. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody could ever break this encryption.
Yes.
Nobody.
Nobody knows the way in here. It's just, there it is. They're just down the road a little from McLean. I don't know. It could just be me. Just my paranoia. No, I don't want to start any rumors. They're perfectly fine gentlemen. And they make a wonderful product. Good tip. Thank you, Kevin. Well, thank you all for being here. Kevin Purdy is a senior editor at lifehacker.com. You can read his great articles about Android. He's the Android guy there, so I have a feeling we'll be talking to you a lot more.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was great to be on.
Wonderful to have you. Thank you for being here. Our good friend Jeff Jarvis is the author of What Would Google Do? A must-read book, soon to be the author of Beta. I can't wait. Is there a time frame?
I have a page and a half written. I have no idea.
Oh, so it's like next week sometime.
Yeah, don't bug me like my editor and my agent.
A page and a half. I hate writing so much. I just hate it. I'm only laughing because I'm not doing it. But do get What Would Google Do? That's actually finished and in the bookstores now. And his blog, which he writes a lot, and I think that's really great, is at buzzmachine.com. Jeff's a really great blogger. Thank you, Jeff, for being here. Gina Trapani writes at smarterware.org, and also look for her article in Maximum PC this month and on everywhere else. She writes for Lifehacker, too. It's great to have you on. Her book.
Thanks for having me.
The Complete Guide to Google Wave is at CompleteWaveGuide.com.
Yes, it is. And next week, I'm going to have some fun news about that book. Live from Austin.
Yeah, we should say this. Now, I should have found out. I think people can come see us do it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're
groupies.
Groupies. We're
famous groupies.
I'm inviting all my friends.
Sean Michael Wright is broadcasting, as he did last year, live from Austin, and I think they have it's Nice Fish Films, and I think that they have we're going to use their studio at South by, and I think that people can go there. But I'll tell you what, watch our buzzes and our tweets and all that stuff, and we'll let you know. But that will be Saturday afternoon, a little later than usual, I think, because it's Austin time.
We'll post it on Lifehacker. We'll pack the house.
Let's pack the house.
Let's pack the house.
Let's pack the house. And then everybody will be going over to the Dig Party after that. I want more people at our show than at the Dig Nation show. What do you say?
We can pull that off. Easy. Sorry, Kevin.
If we promise that we'll be wearing red Google slankets.
K-Rose.
K-Rose.
Not Kevin Purdy. K-Rose.
K-Rose. All right. Hey, thank you all for being here. We do this show normally live out of our studios via Skype. 2:15 Pacific, 5:15 Eastern Time every Saturday afternoon, live.twit.tv. Hope you'll join us live and subscribe to the show on iTunes and the Zoom store and everywhere else. That's where you get your podcasts. Look for This Week in Google. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Twig.
Serve the user. We will do it quickly and do it well. All knowledge consciousness is given to the Holy